Number 10. Money isn't for spending, it's for multiplying. Most kids grow up learning one simple rule about money. You earn it, then you spend it. That's it. But rich parents flip that. They teach their kids that money is like a seed. You don't eat it, you plant it. Every dollar should have a job that brings back more dollars. So when their kid gets birthday money, the conversation isn't, what toy do you want to buy? It's, how can you grow this into more? That small shift changes everything. While most people train their kids to become good consumers, rich families train their kids to become investors. And honestly, that's why two people can earn the same paycheck but live in totally different worlds. Number 9. Your environment is your biggest investment. Rich people understand that the people around you shape your financial future more than any class or book ever will, so they raise their kids to be intentional about their circle. A rich kid is told, hang around dreamers, not complainers. Hang around builders, not destroyers. Because they know habits are contagious. If your best friends are always broke and bitter, guess what you'll probably become? And it's not about abandoning people, it's about protecting your future. Rich parents create environments where money isn't taboo, where success is normalized, and where ambition is the default setting. That's why when you hear a billionaire say, your network is your net worth, it's not just a catchy line, it's the law of money. Number 8. Don't fall in love with looking rich. This one stings because society pushes us to flex. Fancy clothes, the latest phone, the car you can't actually afford. Most kids are taught to equate status with stuff. But rich parents know that looking rich is the fastest way to stay broke. They drill it into their kids that flashy lifestyles are like quicksand. You get stuck the moment you step into it. A rich kid learns early on that wealth whispers. It doesn't scream. You can spot the difference between someone who's really rich and someone faking it by one thing. The real ones don't need to prove it. The ones faking it are usually drowning in debt. And here's the harsh truth. If your goal is to look rich, you'll never have the discipline to actually become rich. Number 7. Money loves clarity. Here's what that means. Money only grows for people who know exactly what they want it to do. Most people live in financial fog. They don't know how much they earn, they don't track how much they spend, and they have no clue where their money leaks out. Rich kids, they're taught to see money like a chessboard. Every move is intentional. If they want something, they set a plan, and they track the numbers until it happens. That clarity is power. You can't build wealth if you're blind to your own habits. Think about it. If money were a business partner, would it trust you if you had no idea what you were doing? Probably not. Clarity makes money flow towards you. Confusion makes it run away. Number 6. Debt can be a tool or a trap. This one's massive, because most kids are only ever told, debt is bad, stay away. But rich parents know that's only half the story. They teach their kids the difference between good debt and bad debt. Bad debt is when you borrow to buy stuff that loses value, like swiping a credit card for clothes you can't afford. That's financial suicide. Good debt, on the other hand, is borrowing to buy things that put more money in your pocket, like real estate, a business, or even an education if it's used strategically. The lesson is simple. Don't be afraid of debt, just be smart with it. Poor families teach fear, rich families teach strategy, and that difference decides whether debt buries you or builds you. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because if you think these first 5 lessons are powerful, wait until you hear the top 5. Rich parents hold back the juiciest lessons for a reason, and ignoring them is exactly why people stay stuck. Rich parents don't raise their kids to survive money, they raise them to master it, and that's the difference most of us were never taught. Number 5. Job security is a trap. This one is going to rattle some people, because most of us were raised on the get a good job, work hard, stay loyal story. But rich parents flip that script. They teach their kids that a paycheck is a leash. It keeps you just comfortable enough not to question the system. Job security feels safe, but in reality, it's the riskiest game you can play, because your entire life depends on one boss, one company, one paycheck. The rich raise their kids to think like creators, not employees. They tell them, if you're going to work for someone, learn the skills, build the network, but don't get stuck there. The real security isn't in a job. It's in knowing how to create value on your own terms. And once that idea clicks, you never see money the same way again. Number 4, saving money won't make you rich. This one sounds insane at first, because everybody says, save, save, save. But here's the blunt truth. Nobody saves their way to wealth. Inflation eats savings. Banks profit from your savings more than you do. Rich parents don't tell their kids to hoard cash. They tell them to move cash, invest it, grow it, flip it. Saving is just a parking spot, not a destination. Don't get me wrong. Rich people save too, but it's strategic. They save to invest, not to feel safe. And that's a massive difference. If you're stacking money under the mattress or even letting it sit in a bank account for years, you're actually getting poorer by the day. That's why rich kids are raised to see money as active energy. It should always be working harder than you. Number 3. Failure is tuition. Now we're getting into the mindset lessons that almost no regular school will ever teach. Poor and middle-class families often treat failure like a disaster, something to be ashamed of. Rich families, they treat failure like a receipt. You paid for the lesson, so you better learn it. When a kid in a rich family loses money on a business idea, the conversation isn't, "See, you should have been careful." It's, "What did that mistake teach you?" That's how resilience is built. Every failure becomes a training ground for future success. And here's the irony. Most people waste years trying to avoid failure, while rich kids learn to embrace it early, and that's exactly why they get ahead faster. Number 2. Never trade time for money forever. This is the game changer. Rich parents drill it into their kids that time is the most valuable asset you'll ever have, and trading it for money is the lowest form of leverage. Don't misunderstand me. Working for money is where most of us start. But the rich teach that you can't stay there. The goal is to use active income to build passive income. That's why they push their kids into investments, businesses, and systems that earn money even when they're asleep. Poor families teach survival. Rich families teach escape. They show their kids that freedom is when money works harder for you than you ever worked for it. Number 1. Money is a mindset before it's a bank account. This is the ultimate lesson, the one that ties everything together. Rich parents understand that wealth starts in the mind long before it shows up in your wallet. They raise their kids to think differently about problems, opportunities, and risk. Where most people see obstacles, they see options. Where most people see danger, they see possibility. That mindset shift is the real inheritance. Because here's the kicker. Even if a rich kid lost all their money, they'd probably build it back. Not because of luck or privilege, but because they've been trained to think like a wealth builder, and that's something money alone can't buy. So here's the takeaway. Rich families don't just hand their kids money, they hand them a playbook. A set of rules about how money really works. Rules most of us were never taught. They don't raise their kids to survive. They raise them to own their future. And whether you grew up rich or broke, you can start applying these lessons today. That's the beauty of it. You don't need a trust fund to think like the wealthy. You just need to stop thinking like everyone else. And let me be blunt here. Most people won't do it. Most people will hear this, nod along, and go back to chasing the same paycheck, the same fake lifestyle, the same money traps. But if you're still here listening right now, you're not most people. You're hungry for change. And if you take even 2 or 3 of these lessons seriously, your financial future won't just improve, it'll completely transform. Now, you've heard the playbook. Watch this next video to know how to implement it.